Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening. Can you all hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Who's speaking, please?
Oh, this is Okoyemi Arolo.
Okay, Okoyemi, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Okay. Is this your first time of joining?
No, this is not my first time.
Okay. Yeah, the class starts anytime from now. So we're just waiting to have more people join in before we start fully.
Oh, okay.
Mm. Yeah, so good evening, everybody. Thank you all once again for joining today's session. And yeah, I would like to inform us that this weekend and next weekend, we're going to be starting the SharePoint online. We're going to be starting our training with the SharePoint online. Okay, please just give me a minute, please. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, I did say that last weekend I think last 2 weekends, or would I say so far, we've been able to cover. I think we started with Power Apps, then we moved to Entra ID, Microsoft Entra ID. Then we looked at Microsoft Teams. After we treated Exchange Online. So basically, this week we're supposed to be starting with SharePoint Online. But before we start with SharePoint Online, I would want us to have a review of what you treated in your Exchange Online. So this is going to be like for the next, let me say 15 to 30 minutes, we're just going to have a revision of what you've learned so far. I understand that you covered in Exchange Online, we've covered mail flow, you covered migration. Madam Titi shared with you, I think you looked at message trace, connectors, retention policies, if I'm not mistaken. So all of that is what we're going to be revising today before your SharePoint Online trainer comes on the call. So everyone, I think you all can unmute yourselves because I'll be asking questions. And while I would also share more details or just give you one or two scenarios, real-time scenarios as regards what you've covered so far. So is there anyone here that can tell us what you've learned so far in your last class that's in Exchange Online? Is there anybody that can tell us? Just share with us what you've learned so far in Exchange Online. You can unmute yourself, please. Hello, everyone. Can you please unmute yourselves if you can hear me? Can you guys hear me? I can see Awal. I see
We can hear
Opeyemi.
you.
I need you to unmute yourself. Okay, yeah. So like I said, okay, good. Today's class, before you start your SharePoint Online class for today, we're going to have a revision of what you've learned so far, right? So okay, maybe I should just ask this question. You can explain to me what message trace is. When do you run a message trace? Is there anyone here that can explain to me? Or let's even start. What have you learned so far in Exchange Online? I remember in the last class, someone was asking what part of Microsoft 365 have we covered in this class? And I want to reiterate that in the last 2 weeks, you covered Exchange Online. So who can please share with us what you've learned so far in Exchange Online?
Hi,
It's going
Rafi.
to be an interactive class, so please just take your time, explain like in your own terms what you've learned so far. Yeah, hi Joseph. Trust you're doing great.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm doing good.
Okay then.
So far from the exchange class, the 3 classes so far we've had, I've learned things to do with the mailbox. I've learned retention.
Okay.
I've learned the mail flows, creating these rules. I've learned a lot of things. Just that I don't know if we can still go into details on how the steps that are involved into creating a mailbox, delegating it, assigning delegation, assigning actually enabling archiving of mailboxes, checking on
Okay.
the usage
Okay.
of a
That's
particular
good.
mailbox. Okay.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. So I've really learned a lot in those 3 classes. So far I can actually manage Exchange online just from the
Beautiful.
3 classes.
Okay, that's a very good one. Thank you for sharing the key points, the topics that you've learned so far in exchange. So I want to believe that you have your M365 Testinat account, right?
Yes. I do.
Okay, and you've been able to navigate the exchange admin center.
Yeah, I have. Just that there's some some parts that are grayed out.
Some parts are graded out. Like what parts would that be?
Actually, I was trying to what? Enable the archive part.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not
And you
actually
were
working.
unable to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay. No problem then. Let's see. Let's have someone else confirm if they're able to enable archiving, online archive for mailboxes within the Exchange Admin Center. So Oliver, we have Oliver here. So is there anyone that want to share their screen and show to us how to enable the online archive? Let's see. So who would want to enable that for us here? Do I have to call out people? We have we have Chidi here, or Babatunde, or Okoyemi. Can someone volunteer to show us how to enable online archive on mailboxes? Okay, let me just share my screen. I do have the global admin credentials, but I just want to confirm that you guys can enable online archive on mailboxes with your own admin
I
credentials.
need to actually I'm logged on to my other screen. Maybe I can try and share my screen as well.
Okay. Let's see.
And then
Busayo,
just a second because I'm running this.
are you able to share your screen?
To connect. I'm using my tablet to connect. I'm not please concern. Please don't use
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
So I
That's fine.
understand. Me, I understand me I works. Okay.
Okay. So while we're waiting for Joseph to share his screen, I think that's quite different. Just give me a minute. So I'm not sure you'll be able to share your screen due to the, no, you should be able to, right? I'm not sure you'll be able to do that. Okay, but from my own end, let me share my screen with you. I would look into that. No one here is confirming if they can enable online archive. So all I just want you to do is sign into your Office 365 admin portal, go
Good
to your
evening, Rafiah.
Exchange. Okay, good evening. Who is speaking?
Okay, yeah, it's me,
Michael.
Michael.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I've done that. So, but I would have
Shared
tried
your
to share my screen
screen.
now, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not using a PC.
Okay, okay.
Yes, I'm just with my phone.
Okay, so you
So
can
I don't know
confirm.
why.
Do go ahead.
So I can confirm that it works. The account.
Okay, so you're able to enable online archive for mailboxes within the Exchange Admin Center, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Joseph, I'll just take you through how to enable the online archive for mailboxes within the Exchange Admin Center. So like I said, for those that are just joining in, we're done with Exchange Online. Okay, Obi Wulu is also confirming that they can enable the online archive mailbox. So we're just going to share with Joseph before we proceed. Today, basically, I'm starting with revision. So I would like to reiterate that I know most times we just start our classes, we have a brief revision, and we're taking off with the next technology. It's really not how far, but how well. I want to encourage everyone here that aside from the recording, the class recordings that you go through, aside from the materials that are shared, please take your time to um, check online. When I say check online, I think the first go-to place would be the Microsoft Learn. Like when you search online, either for message trace or you're searching for mail flow, you want to learn more about Exchange Online. All of the resources that we have in most cases is from Microsoft Learn, like Microsoft documentation. So don't just rely on the recordings alone. Take time to do further research, learn into to that's in depth what these different features actually what they are, how they work, the different scenarios, what kind of instances would you need to run a message trace? When do you create connectors? What do connectors do? Right. So you should be able to ask yourself these questions and be able to explain when asked all of these asked about these core features within Exchange Online. So I want to believe you can all see my screen. If you can see my screen, just let me know. Go to as
Yes, we can
usual
see
or
your
as
screen.
expected. Okay, you can see my screen. So once you're signed in, just click on the admin icon and go to your Exchange Admin Center. So today I'll just give you a brief, like more like just a quick tour from your Exchange Admin Center. You know that basically everything that has to do with mail flow is managed here. Your mailboxes managed here. For before a user can have a mailbox, I mean an active mailbox, it's very important that they have a license. Without a license, you can't have a mailbox, right? So coming down to, if you want to enable the online archive, what do you do? Go to mailboxes. Here you would see the list of all your users that have active mailboxes. And don't forget that you could have the recipient type to be user mailbox and also have a shared mailbox. Yeah, right here you get to see a user mailbox and a shared mailbox. So if I need to enable archive for a mailbox here, all I need to do is just click on one user mailbox, then go to click on others, right? You click on others, then right here, you see you have several options here. Mailbox archive. For this user, it is disabled. So if I need to enable this, I'll just click on manage mailbox archive for this user and I'll toggle this on to enable the online archive for this user. Now, one condition I would say is this. Aside from the online archive, I'm sure you were told about the auto expanding archive. Now, unlike the online archive that you can enable from here, that's from the admin center here. If you need to enable the expanding archive, you have to use the Windows PowerShell. You have to run a command to enable the auto expanding archive for user mailbox. So Joseph, I want you to just try this from your own end. select a user, right? And try to enable this online archive. So before you can enable online the auto expanding archive, you have to make sure that this online archive is enabled for the mailbox. Now, talking about converting, I don't know if you also looked at converting a user mailbox to a shared mailbox. It's also done from here. You just click on convert to a shared mailbox and you have that user mailbox converted to a shared mailbox. I think we've covered this in previous classes. Now, aside from enabling online archive, I think you also looked at retention policies. So who can tell me, where do you create retention policies from? If you need to create a retention policy now, where would you create it from? Who can answer that question? I don't want only Joseph sharing, answering, please. I want an interactive class. If you want to create a retention policy, where would you create a retention policy from? So I think I'm going to ask, let me unmute. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I can see you're dropping your answers in the chat. Please drop your your answer in the chat. So where do we create retention policies from? We create retention policies from the Microsoft Purview Admin Center. Beautiful. For those of you that got the answer correct, yes, from the Microsoft Purview. So Lovina, I can see you mentioned SharePoint, OneDrive. Okay, is it for this? Yeah, you can actually create retention policies for your SharePoint and for your mailbox, but I'm not asking, I'm asking where, from where, right? From where, not how, on what do you apply those retention policies on? You actually create them. You create a retention policy from the Microsoft Purview Admin Center. So it's after creating the retention policy, then you can now apply it either to, yes, beautiful, from the Purview Admin Center. After creating the retention policies, then you can now apply them to either mailboxes or your SharePoint or your Teams, right? Good. So who can tell me, we have 3 different types of retention policies. Can someone share with me what those 3 types of 3 types of retention policies that we have? So if I say that, let me go back to my admin center. And I come to, so from your admin center, it's actually named compliance, but the new name is Microsoft, do I say the new name, or it's called Microsoft Purview. So when you go to your compliance admin center and you're creating your retention policy, you first need to create a retention tag before you create your retention policy. Then you now go to the Exchange Admin Center to apply the retention policy on the mailbox. So if you're asked the different types of retention policies, you do have let me just kindly hold on, let this come up. So some persons here already do know this. Litigation, okay. Litigation is a type of hold. It's different from a retention. Retain, okay, delete, retain, okay, so good one. So that is actually the action, right? So if you're applying a retention policy on a mailbox, what should be the action? And it's like you're applying a retention policy, and you're saying, okay, for this period of time, I want you to retain these emails, and what should happen after that period of time, right? Should you retain, delete, or archive? So, but when we talk about the different types, we do have, so from your Microsoft Purview Admin Center, you just go to Solutions and click on the Data Lifecycle Management. Here we do have the MRM retention tags, right? Let's look at this. Okay, so already you have default tags here, default retention tags. Yeah, so you can choose to use any of these tags here, either 1 month, 1 month you have. Okay, so when I was asking what are the different types of retention tags, you can see them here. The different types are, we do have the personal tags, default, and the retention policy tags. So if you need to click on, maybe you want to read further, you just click on this link and you see more details. I just want to take you through retention action. Okay, retention action was what you were mentioning in the chat that has to do with retain. And so if you're looking at the types of retention tags, see them here. The first one is the default policy tag. Then you have the retention policy tag. And the third one is the personal tag. So for default policy tag, this type of tag actually applies to the entire mailbox. While for retention policy tag, you can choose to apply that to just a particular folder, say the inbox folder or the sent items folder or the deleted items folder. So in this case, it just applies to a folder. While for personal tags, these ones are what users themselves can use directly from Outlook, right? From your own mailbox, you can have the personal tags. So going back to the Purview Admin Center, just hold on. So the type of retention tag is actually different from what action should be taken, the retention action. So in most cases, when you see that we enable online archive, you would see users complaining that maybe their mailbox is full and they need to enable online archive, move emails to the online archive. Instead of you having to delete the emails, you can just create more space by moving the emails to the online archive. That's the essence that, okay, males older than, you're giving a duration, say maybe males older than 2 years move to archive, right? In that way, you're able to create space within your mailbox. I'm trying to share my Purview Admin Center. Just give me a minute. Okay, so take for instance, now I want to create a retention tag. Let's say I'm giving this tests RT. Not necessarily I have to give it a description. I click on next. So right here, I just want to show you the point where you have to select which type are you actually creating. You see, the first one is the default, which I just mentioned now, that has to do with automatically applies to the entire mailbox. Take note. And for retention policy tags, this applies to default folders. While the third one, which is the personal tag, these are tags that can be used by users to items and folders within either their Outlook desktop app or their Outlook web app. Now, when you click on the first one and you click next, so there has to be a retention period. So what happens when an item reaches the following age? So in this case, it's not going to be in weeks, but in days. So if we're saying for 2 months, 2 months would be around 60 days, right? So, and this is the retention action. It's quite different from the type of retention tags. The retention action, take note, would be, do you delete and allow recovery or permanently delete? You know that when you permanently delete a mail, you cannot recover that mail. So the first option gives you the option to delete and recover, but the second one, it goes off completely, except there's a good. That's where the litigation hold comes in now, except there is a hold on the mailbox. So I'm sure you can see the differences, right? For the person that mentioned litigation hold, that's like you're placing a hold, even if a user mistakenly deletes something or even permanently deletes, because there's a hold on that mailbox, you'll still be able to recover that email. Then the third one here says move item to archive. So if you don't have an online archive enabled, how do you move items to the archive? That's the essence of enabling the online archive. So when you enable that, you're able to move items to the archive folder and you click on submit. So you need to first create your retention tag before you go to your retention policy, then pick up that tag that you just created. So we can still name this your test RP. And now I'm adding the tag that I created earlier, which is also called test RT. Then you click add. Next, and I submit. So right from here, you're told that to apply this retention policy to mailboxes, you need to go to the Exchange Admin Center to do that. So I just click on done, then go back to my Exchange Admin Center. Still on the same user, which is a Kehinde. I would go to his mailbox and apply that retention policy. That should be on his mailbox. So you have here, he has the default MRM policy, but we don't want that. We want to apply the one we just created, which is the test retention policy. So this is how you actually apply retention policies on mailboxes. Create the retention tag, get your retention policy, then apply to the mailbox from the Exchange Admin Center. Now, I did ask earlier that what's message trace? Let me quickly confirm if your mentor is around. Yet. Okay, so I'll just continue pending when your mentor joins the class. So I was asking about message trace. In what scenario, like what would make you run a message trace? Can anyone share with me? You can drop the chat. Where do you run a message trace from? And why would you want to run a message trace? So let's say I ask you a question now that as an Exchange admin, right, you have a user who is expecting a mail from someone and they've not received the email. Good. So drop your answers in the chat box. So what would you do when you're trying? Okay, good. So you run a message trace whenever there's when you need to troubleshoot mail delivery issues, right? Okay, good. Someone also said when there's a delay in emails, you're expecting a mail, you're not receiving the email. What would you do? You run a message trace. Now, it's very simple. Once you just go to your Exchange Admin Center to investigate, okay, good. All your answers are correct. Beautiful. Some Tochukwu said that when an email is missing or can't be tracked for audit purpose. Okay. So one thing I want you to know is this. For message trace, everything you've said is actually correct. You use the message trace to actually investigate, to check mail delivery issues, to troubleshoot mail flow issues, right? Now, when you need to run a message trace, let me share my screen. Okay, let me go back here. You come to mail flow and you go to message trace. It's very simple. You're expecting a mail, user is expecting a mail, and they've not received the email. You can just come to as an admin, go to the Exchange Admin Center and start a trace. Now, who is the sender? Who is the recipient? Who sent the email? Just put the sender's email address here, and the recipient who is expecting the email. So this would work in both ways. When I say both ways, you should know by now that mail flow is actually how mails come in and out of your organization, right? So irrespective of where the mail delivery issue is coming from, whether you're expecting a mail from outside in or someone from within your organization sends emails outside, right? So you could have your sender being the external email address or the internal user. So when you run your message trace here, take note that you have, if you're running a trace for, you want to see mail delivery within, I would say 10 days, right? 10 days or less, you get your summary result right here. Take for instance, I want to run a trace and the sender here is, not sure I've sent a trace recently. So I'll just do this. And the recipient would be Emmanuel Oyimafu. And I'm saying the date range should be in the last. Good. So you'd see that I picked 30th, which is March, right? Between 30th and now, you notice that it's more than 10 days. So if I need to run a query, a search for that has passed 10 days, I'm not going to get the results right here. It's going to come in a downloadable CSV format, right? Because it's more than 10 days. So you click on extended report. Oh, hold on. Yeah, and I'll just have prepare the report. But if you have for less than 10 days, say within the week, just yesterday, 2 days, 3 days, you could just come over here and you'd see, let me pick a start date. Today is 12. I'll go to April 12, 11, 10, between 8 and today. If I run a search, you see the search results here. But for anything more than 10 days, because I've not sent any email to Emmanuel within the last few days, that's why we're not getting any result. But for any search you're running that exceeds 10 days, it's going to come in a CSV downloadable format that the admin would, either the admin, whoever you want to receive that, you just put the email address there and you get your result. So let me take it back to message trace. So you have right here downloadable reports. So you can see one here. It hasn't started yet. So once it's ready, the admin would get that EMT, extended message trace report. So the next thing I would ask is about connectors. Who can tell me what connectors are? I hope you've all gone through the files that Madam Titi shared in the, I think it was Oyimafu that shared that in the class, in the WhatsApp group. So who can tell me what a connector is and the different types of connectors? So I can see Idris here. I want to welcome you as an old mentee. Beautiful. Inbound and outbound. Good. Nice one. So that means you guys are really learning. So what connector does is to control the flow of email messages in and out of your email source. Okay. When you say email source, a connector actually, if you look at connect, it actually controls the flow. Yeah, good evening. You're welcome. So it actually controls the flow of emails within your Exchange Online and your on-premises Exchange server, or between Exchange Online and other third-party mail service providers. And we do have two different types of connectors. You have the inbound connector and the outbound connector. So are you able to differentiate between both types of connectors? For those wondering, let me just, where do you create connectors from? It's still from the Exchange Admin Center. Hold on. So coming over here, you can see on the mail flow, you do have connectors here. And one beautiful, you're struggling with the network today. Oh, sorry about that. Beautiful. So connectors basically help control the flow of email messages to and from your Microsoft 365 organization. So like we said, we have two types of connectors, inbound and outbound. If you need to create a connector, you just come over here. You can see this connector you're trying to create. Is it from your M365 tenant? If you select that option, to where? That will be your organization's email server if you have one, or it could be from your organization's email server, which is outside, coming into what? Office 365, or you're having that connector from your partner organization to Office 365. So the one that's coming from Office 365 and going to your organization's email server, you know that that's an outbound connector. While the one that's coming from your organization's email server outside, coming in, that will be the inbound connector. By your beautiful. So you guys are really learned well. So I'll just advise that you keep showing up for your classes. Try as much as possible to have your hands on within the M365 tenant. Someone reached out to me today for an account creation. I'll do that after the class. I'll share the credentials with you after the class. So I think so far so good. If you have any questions within Exchange, please do not hesitate to ask, right? If there's anything that's not working for you that you're not getting right, please ask and we'll definitely answer your questions. Though it might take, there might be delay in our response due to everybody's busy schedule, but I'm very sure we would answer. I know I still have some pending ask, but for some reason I can't trace my some of these chats. So please, if you didn't hear back from us within 2-3 days, kindly send a reminder and we'll get it done for you. So can I reshare the WhatsApp group link? Yes, I can. You cannot hear anything. Is it just you? So Bruno, I think you need to leave and rejoin the class. So I'll need to just give me 1 or 2 minutes. Let me quickly share the WhatsApp group link. I mean the note Madam Titi shared earlier. Okay, you want me to reshare the notes within the WhatsApp group? Okay. Please let me do it now, because after this class, I might not remember to do that. Okay, so if you need an account, Gentle, I want you to drop your first name and your last name in the chat now, and I'll create your account for you after this class. Okay. So Gentle, are you in the WhatsApp group? Yes, you are. Okay. Okay. So I'll create your account for you after this class. And just in case, I know everybody here, we started the beginners class last year. This is the intermediate class. So I want to believe that majority of the people we have here can create users, manage user access. Okay, I know Joseph, you did mention delegate permissions within Exchange. Okay, but if you're talking about managing M365, I'm very, very sure to an extent that majority of you can do this. Like there's I think the only admin center that we've not worked on is the Intune. When it comes to security, compliance, Entra, Exchange, Teams, and SharePoint, you all can navigate those admin centers. So for those that don't, someone like Gentle, I'll create your account after this class, so you are also able to navigate the M365 tenant. So without taking much of your time, I would start off with revising SharePoint Online with you, right? Because I don't think your mentor has showed up yet. I don't think he's around yet. So I'll just give you a brief. Hold on. You want me to tell you about outbound connectors involving connecting to other mail servers? I mean the settings to ensure trusted routes during message delivery to other email servers. Okay, also share little light on DKIM and DMARC. Okay, beautiful. So when you're talking about outbound connectors, the reason why we weren't able to show you how this outbound connector works, it's because we just have a test environment that we're working with, right? It's not like your regular IT organization that has all of the infrastructure in place. So we don't have that third-party mail server to share with you or to add the, do I say, the details of the third-party mail server, because if you're configuring a connector, you need to add your third-party mail server's details, right? We don't have that. But one thing we can tell you is that if you need to create a connector, maybe you find yourself tomorrow in in an organization and you need to create these connectors, it's from the Exchange Admin Center. You can tell how to create. From what I just showed you, you should know when you need to create the inbound and outbound, right? So we have limitations to the things that we can actually show you. Now, as regards DKIM and DMARC, I'll let you know that the DKIM and DMARC, they are actually email authentication protocols. It's not just DKIM and DMARC. We have SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So SPF, yes, you can as well set auto archive. If someone is asking, is there a way to archive personal emails when it is full? Yes, you can. Good one. So auto archive, yes, you can as well set auto archive. Okay, that's the correct answer. Yes, you can archive personal emails. So going back to what I was explaining, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So now this is it. You know that when you sign up for M365, right? You're signing up for M365 because I would say, depending on your subscription, right? Your subscription will determine the kind of services you have access to. So M365 has a wide range of services. You have Exchange, you have Teams, you have SharePoint. So when it comes to SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, it's more of emails. It focuses more on your mails, right? So what SPF does is to help prevent spoofing, the likes of spoofing, phishing, even both the DKIM and DMARC. Now, let me share articles with you first, because it's important that you understand each of these protocols. SPF, Sender Policy Framework, DKIM, Domain Key Identifier, and DMARC. So now, what DKIM actually does is to verify in most cases that, okay, is this email actually legitimate or not? For those of you that were in class in the last training, that's the beginner's training class, your mentor Olajide had explained to you what spoofing, phishing, he looked at that security part, right? So what's spoofing? How do these email authentication protocols come in to protect your M365 tenant, right? How do you ensure that hackers or attackers do not gain access to your M365 tenant? So that's the essence of this configuring SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So I think I started off with M365, like when you sign up for M365, because after signing up for M365, by default, you would notice that I used to say that when whoever signs up for the Microsoft 365 actually is automatically I would say a global admin from my own point of view. Now, whether it's an MSP, a cloud service provider that's signing it up for you, or you yourself, whichever one, you at that point, that first account that is created is actually the global admin account. Now, you usually see this email address as say, for example, me now, it would be Rafiah at ISC dot, let's say the name of my organization is mentorship. Let's say Mentorship Academy, right? I have Rafiah at mentorship at academy.onmicrosoft.com. That's the default. Now, if I don't want that .onmicrosoft.com, I want my business name. I want my emails, if I'm sending emails or if I'm signing up my mentees, creating accounts for them, I don't want them to use the .onmicrosoft.com. I want them to use the name of my organization. That's the tech mentorship academy.com, right? That would mean that I must have I do already have that domain, which is the mentorshipacademy.com. I've bought that domain. I own the domain. So the only way I'll be able to use or create accounts or create users that will have that domain name is I'll have to verify that I own that domain before I can add the domain to Microsoft 365. So now, adding that domain, we call it custom domain. It's actually a custom domain. I'm adding the domain to M365. I'm pointing my MX record. We have we have records like DNS records. You have the MX record, you have the CNAME record, you have the TXT record, right? So I'll have to point my MX record to Microsoft 365 because I want mails to be routed through Microsoft 365. That's an MX record. I'll give you an instance of where you use an MX record. But you see for SPF, SPF is a TXT record that you add to your DNS portal. When you buy a domain from a domain host provider, you have the you who bought it, you're actually the admin, so you can add records to your DNS host provider. You're going to add the TXT records. Even at the point of verifying that you add that you own the domain, the custom domain, you're going to add a record. Microsoft 365 will give you the records that you need to add, the TXT record that you need to add. Then the MX record to point to Office 365. Then for your SPF, record is actually if you need to configure SPF, you need to add a TXT record to your DNS portal. I'll share the link with you once I'm done with explaining. Now, coming to DKIM. DKIM, for you to enable DKIM, you need to first publish 2 CNAME records. Don't forget, I told you have different types of records. You have TXT record, you have MX record, you have CNAME records, you have A records. But in this case, we're looking at for DKIM 2 CNAME records. So how do you enable DKIM? I'm going to share my screen. If you need to enable DKIM, okay, someone is asking that during migration of domain from one domain host to another, which of these protocols is used and how does the migration, mailbox migration work? So I'll need you to just give me some time. I'll get back to your question. So now, while I'm sharing my screen, I want to show you how to enable DKIM. First, let's look at SPF records. I'm supposed to explain SharePoint. Just hold on. Control C. That's for your SPF. So I'll share for DMARC and also share for DKIM. So we should cover this in your security class. That will be after SharePoint. We're going to go into more details. So excuse me. I think it's important that you people also buy a domain name of your choice, right? Just imagine you own an organization. What will be the name of your organization? And you can get a custom domain for yourself. So you get to add those records and see how they work. For this one, this is DMARC. Control V. Then you have DKIM. So let me share this. Control C. So for DKIM, if you need to enable DKIM, you have to do that from the Microsoft 365 Security Admin Center. So you go to, so from your M365 Admin Center, you have, you see the Security Defender, you have Defender for Office 365, you have Defender for cloud apps, you have Defender for endpoint, you have Defender for identity. But our own focus is going to be Defender for Office 365 as it relates to email and collaboration. So now, assuming you want to enable DKIM, you just need to scroll down this left navigation pane. You can see your email and collaboration. Go to policies and rules. And here you have threat policies. So you scroll down to email authentication settings. Then right here, you have your DKIM. Give me a minute. Just thank you so much, Joseph. It's been a long time. Yeah, thank you. So coming back to DKIM, I did explain that so for you to enable DKIM, you have to come to your Microsoft 365 Defender portal. So you see here that DKIM actually means domain key is identified mail. It's actually an authentication process that can help protect both senders and recipients from what? Spoofing and phishing emails. So if you need to add the DKIM signatures to your domain so recipients know that emails messages actually come from the users in your organizations and weren't modified after they were sent. So if you still remember, your mentor Jide had explained to you what spoofing is. Spoofing is more like impersonation, where you'll be receiving a mail, right? You think that it's the actual sender that is sending that email, but it's not. The email address would look like Rafiah, you know the person's first name, the last name. It will look so correct. For example, this Olajumoke Toriola.com, whereas it's actually not Olajumoke Toriola that is sending the email. So in order to prevent spoofing and the likes of phishing mails, receiving malwares, mails that come with malicious links, it's advisable that you set up this SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So how would you also know that the mail is actually not coming from the actual sender? That will take us to getting the message header, analyzing the message header. You get to see the from address and you compare with the return part. So the moment you see that that sender, the from address, which is the sender address, is different from the return part address, then you know that it's spoofing, right? Some users are quite conscious. They don't just open or click on links or open any kind of email. Such kind of people, they can tell when they receive malicious emails. So now going to DKIM, take for example, here we have our custom domain to be nigeriam365community.com. You can see already here the status is showing that CNAME is missing. Don't forget I told you that if you need to enable DKIM, you must publish 2 CNAME records. So the moment I toggle to enable, it will tell me that I need to go and publish 2 CNAME records. So this is the error you'll get. So what are the 2 CNAME records here? You'd see the, this is my domain name, which is the Nigerian m365community.com. You have your host name, selector 1, points to, this is the value, right? So the second CNAME record is the one that shows the selector 2, and it points to this address. Now, I don't own this domain, right? I don't own this domain. I don't have access to that domain. The owner of this domain, who can tell me who owns this domain from the experience we've had so far? You can just drop it in the chat. Who owns the Nigeria m365community.com domain? So let me see if someone can get that. Just a little joke to reduce my seriousness. So let me see who can tell me who owns the Nigerian m365community.com domain. Just drop in the chat. Okay. Someone said Wintest Limited. Another person said, Madam Toriola. I want more responses. Okay, MJ, see Madam Olajumoke. Let me see. I'm going to ask Idris. I'm going to ask Ngozi. I'm going to ask Abolade. And Samuel. Chidi. Peter. Okay. So, yes, for those of you that said, Madam Toriola, she actually owns the Nigerian M365 community.com domain. So, I told you, yeah, Madam NJ, you're right. I told you initially that you should get your own custom domain, right? Imagine you own an organization and how do I put it now? Yes, you want to get a domain for your organization. Tech tired. Okay. I would explain what Tech Tired is. I'll explain what Wintest Limited is, and I'll explain what Nigerian M365 community.com is. So Nigerian M365 is a domain on its own. TechTired.com is a domain on its own. Wintest Limited is a domain on its own. So now, whoever owns that domain, don't forget, whoever owns the domain, whoever bought the domain, it's only that person that has access to that domain, like the DNS portal, having to manage the domain, having to add records. Except the person shares their credentials with someone else, there's no way you'll be able to do that. So you have to have access, like a permission on behalf of Mother, except she gives me now that she says, okay, Rafiah, you need to go here. This is the username, this is the password. There are some organizations you have more than one IT admin, right? So you can give the management of one domain or one M365 tenant to one admin while you're managing the other one. So now going back to adding the CNAME records, I'm unable to add the CNAME records because I don't have the credentials to that DNS portal. But once you add the CNAME records, you will just save the changes, and once that has propagated, you can just come back here and toggle this do I say button on, and you have your DKIM enabled. So take note that custom domains like MTN will be MTN.com, Glo.com. Those are custom domains. Whoever owns them, whoever created the organization owns them and has access. Either the IT admin has access to the DNS portal or the owner. Does the global admin have access to the DNS records? Or a domain? This question, I would say yes, and I'll say no, right? Now, I am a global admin under the Nigerian M365 community tenant, but I do not have access to the DNS. Okay, I won't say I do not have access to the domain. So the only way I'll have access, take note, the condition is that I bought the domain. Just like I said, when you sign up for M365, you're automatically the global admin. The same way when you purchase a domain of your choice, you own the domain. So if I buy a domain and I don't give you the credentials to that domain, you would not have access to the domain, whether or not you are a global admin. They are two different things. So, but if you're the global admin of an M365 tenant and you buy a domain yourself, then you have access to it. But domain that you didn't buy, you can't have access to it. I hope that answers your question. So that's for DKIM. Therefore, DMARC is a TXT record. You also add that record in your DNS portal. So hopefully in your security class, intermediate class, maybe we're going to buy a domain right here in the class. If you're also interested in buying, you can buy. I will show you how to add these records. I think that will be clearer. You have a clearer picture. So if you want to know more details, right, as regards how SPF, DKIM, and DMARC works, I would advise that you read those articles that I shared, right? There are some things that you on your own, when you read through, you would better understand how all three authentication protocols work. Basically, they help secure your M365 tenant against malware, phishing, spoofing, any kind of attack. With the Exchange Online protection, right? When you have all of these things in place, it reduces your organization's exposure to attackers or to attack. I hope I've been able to explain that. So I think that's all from the security side. Sometimes when you need to, let's say you're receiving, what even happens? So what do you do to prevent spoof? Let's say you received, the user in your organization received a malicious email or spoofing email, and you need to block the person that sent that email. Let me see if I can quickly open. Do you know how to get message header from Outlook? If you have your Outlook Classic, we use the message header analyzer to analyze message headers. So let me stop my screen share and share my Outlook. So I'll just show you how to get a message header, how to analyze the header, how to block a malicious email account. That's the sender email address, quickly within 5 minutes, hopefully. If I come to share, this is my Outlook. Okay, you want me to show you? I'll show you. So this is Outlook, and I received, you see my inbox folder. Oh, I'm not supposed to share this, but okay, let me see. Okay, let me use this. I'm sure you can all see my Outlook. Let me use this email from from Jeff Daniel. So if I need to get this a message header, right? All you need to do is double click on the email from the inbox folder. Take note, you're going to double click on the email from your inbox folder. Then you click on file. When you click on file, you come just right here, you have properties. I click on properties. You see it's here, you see internet headers. It's actually the message header. You can't see my screen. Can anyone see my screen? Just confirm if you can see my Outlook. I think Bruno said yes. Who else can see my screen? Okay. Your screen is not moving. Yes, I can. Okay, thank you. So let me come back here. I think I'll need to, for the message header part. So you will just follow my explanation, right? If you have Outlook, open Outlook, just go to the inbox folder, double click on any email within the inbox folder, right? When you double click on it, it would open you'd see the file there. Sorry. Good. I want to share again. This I've used Exchange to cover SharePoint class, but bear with me. Okay, you can see it now. Beautiful. So I'm still trying to share my Outlook with you. Hey, I don't know why my Outlook is not picking up again. Okay, please. Okay, let me assume you can see my Outlook. So right here, if you are following, I did say double click on the email in your inbox, right? Then you click on file from the top left. When you click on file, you would see, okay, beautiful. Thank God you can see my screen. So when I click on file, you will just come down to properties. We want to see the properties, the message header of that email. Let's assume it's a spoofing email that was received by a user, and you want to analyze the message header. I'm just giving you a quick one. So you will copy this header, just highlight everything here and copy that. So what did I say is the tool that you're not using message trace now to analyze message header. You will use, we have the message header analyzer tool. So that's what you're going to use. So you just go to open a browser page. Beautiful. Yeah, you use the message header analyzer tool to analyze message headers. So you just come here and type message header analyzer. I don't need to complete it. So yeah, see this particular one, you click on that. Then you paste that header that you copied. Oh, what you're seeing is the classic Outlook. Okay, let me stop share and share again. So this is it. So what I said is that you need to open a browser page and just type message header analyzer there. This is it. When you type message header analyzer, most times it usually comes up as the first result. You see Microsoft there. Yeah. So just pick this one. Okay, thank you. So you pick the first one. You have your message header analyzer tool there. Then you paste the header you copied and click on analyze header. What are the other ways to do it? Other ways to analyze? Me, I don't know any other way to analyze message header. This is the only way I know how to analyze message header, by using the message header analyzer tool. So here you get to see the from address. You can see this is Jephthah Daniel. And what I told you, two things we're looking at here, right? The sender email address and the return part. Let me take you, let me see. Where's the return part? Yeah. So you see right here now, the sender email address is the same because this is not a spoofing. It's actually Jeff that sent me the email address. This is not the only thing you look out for, but for the context of this class, you're just going to compare the return part is always the original sender of the email. Take note, the return part, then compare with the from address. So this is the sender email address. So it's the same. So that's, you can tell it's a legitimate email. Okay, you mean on browser. Busayo, I'm not understanding your question. So when you say you can use any browser, you can use Chrome browser, you can use Edge, Firefox. The major thing is just search for message header analyzer and you see the message header analyzer. You copy the header, you paste it there. So other key components of the message header are, aside from that sender email address and the return part, if I have to block that sender, the malicious user that is sending that spoofing email, that hacker, if I have to block their email address, it's the return part I'm going to use. I don't need to use this from address because that from address is the person they are trying to impersonate, right? But the return part will show you the actual sender. So you will just copy the email address from that return part and block it. Now you can see here SPF, when you're talking about authentication results, okay, it has gone through all of the filtering. You're seeing here that here SPF pass, this is the sender IP, DMARC pass. Can you see? I told you it's not just DKIM and DMARC. If you can see my screen, you see starting from SPF, it passed, DMARC, it passed, hey, then DKIM. Okay, it's not showing here. Let's see. Yeah, this is DKIM here, showing also as pass, right? So you see for this DMARC, if a mail fails if mail fails that DMARC check, you have 3 actions that you can actually carry out, either for it to reject, quarantine, or do nothing. That one too, at the point of when you are adding your TXT record, you need to specify what action should be carried out on emails that fail DMARC. You include it there in your TXT record. So if I need to also block, it's not just only the email address of the sender you can block. You can also block the IP address. So this is it. If you need to get the IP address, you come here. So when you're analyzing, I started analyzing now from the sender address and the return part. You actually start your analysis from, you see, from here. How the mail, the flow, the number of hops. This is how the mail started. Starting from here, this is the number of hops it took before it eventually got delivered. Then looking at the forefront anti-spam report header, you see this particular part here. This will tell you what the spam confidence level. I'm actually going deeper, but let me just use this opportunity to explain to you. Like I said, in your advanced class, your mentor would explain. You have a deep dive session into it. I think we also treated this in our community deep dive session last month. Yeah, we covered this. So here you have spam confidence level from -1 to 9. You can read that up. What are the spam confidence levels? Well, they're actually numerical values that indicate whether the mail is spam or not. So each value, like 1 now, if the spam confidence level is 0 or 1, it is non-spam. You can see the spam filtering verdict is NSPM, meaning non-spam. So you also have the IP filter verdict, the connecting IP. So if I need to block anything, I'll have to copy this IP. I'll block this IP, block the domain. Don't forget, say I need to block a domain now. I'll drop in this is the email address. The email address is, let's say, Rafiah admin at mentorship academy.com. So if there's no way the return part would be this, it's going to be different. So in most cases, let's say the return part comes with jdp.com, right? So if you need to block this email address, because you have the option to block the email address and you also have the option to block the domain. So this jdp.com is the domain. That's the domain name that you're going to block, and the whole of the email address. Just copy this guy here and you paste that, you block the. So 3 things: you're blocking the email address, blocking the domain, and also blocking the IP. If you also need to do that, it's from the Security Admin Center. CK, what's CK? Oh, I didn't share that. I was just explaining. CK, I don't know what CK is. Is CK are you saying CK.com? Abiodun. Let me just continue my explanation. So, like I said, let's say the return part is picking a Rafiah admin at jdp.com. jdp.com is the domain. Rafiah admin at jdp.com is the spoof, the attacker's email address. Then the IP, I'll just copy that. Then go and block from the Security Admin Center. So where do you do that? The whole of that blocking to avoid a future reoccurrence. You still go back to your policies and rules, go to threat policies, then you have anti-spam policies. You have anti-spam policies, then go to your anti-spam inbound. That's for mails coming in, right? You just scroll down here to the extreme end. This is something you can do on your own. So you just come here so you can see allowed and blocked senders and domains. Click on the edit allowed and blocked senders and domains. For blocked senders, I'll just click here, add senders and paste. Sorry, Control Z. I have Rafiah admin at jdp.com. So this is the email address I want to block. I'll click add senders. I'm adding that email address to the blocked list. You're not seeing what I'm doing. Okay, let me reshare my screen. So I hope everyone here knows how to get a message header, how to analyze the message header. You know what to use to analyze the message header. You know what to look out for when analyzing the message header. Take note. You know what to look out for. Then after getting what you're looking for, what do you do next? The next thing is to block that person so that even if they try to send you emails, it won't come true. So how did I say you get to add the malicious email senders account to your blocked list of senders, or to your blocked senders list, whichever one? You come to, it's anything that has to do with security, right? Creating policies, anti-spam policies, anti-malware policies. It's from the Security Defender admin portal. Let me just quickly show you. When you come here, these are all your admin centers. You see this security, it's also called Microsoft Defender. So you click on that. And I said our focus is on security for Office 365. I can see your screen. Okay. So security defender for Office 365, email and collaboration. We have Office Defender for cloud apps, for identity, but our own focus is email and collaboration. So you can navigate this part. You come here. It's actually wide, but yeah, let's just make do with this one. So you have threat policies, then go to anti-spam. Except you want to create a custom policy of your own, that's when you get to create. But the ones that you have here are follow-com. That's default policies, default follow-com. So I'll just click on, you see this test, it was created. That's why you can see custom. It was created by, I don't know, someone. So but in our own case, you're going to the anti-spam inbound policy. Then you scroll down to the extreme end. Here you have edit allowed and blocked sender. So if you need to add a blocked sender, you need to add a block, you want to block a domain or block a sender, just come here. You know, there are instances where you can also block directly from Outlook, right? But as an admin, just come here. After analyzing the header, you come here and add the email address. I was using this, Rafiah admin at jpanything.com. So make sure you click on that text box beneath, then click on add senders. So you'd see that one sender has been added. So when it has to do with the domain, you're not going to put the Rafiah admin again. This is just the domain. So it's going to be jdp.com. So you click on this, then you add domains and click done, and you save. So that's for adding you're blocking the sender and you're blocking the domain. So if you need to block the IP, you come to the connection filter policy, this one. So you see, you have your IP allow list and you have your IP block list. The same thing you did earlier, you need to edit. Click on the edit option, and here you can add the IP that you want to block. So assuming I go to my message header, I showed you where to get the IP, right? That IP you have, connecting IP address, just copy that. I won't block this, but I just want to use this for this purpose. Come here, connection filter. Always block messages from this IP. I'll just paste it and save. But I don't want to block this one, so I'll change it to 93.91.105. So I'll use this one. I just formed that one. Then I click save. So that will block any email coming from that IP address. So I think if you have any questions, please drop in the chat. I've been able to just take you through SPF, DMARC, how to configure that, what you need to do. And if there's anything I've not covered, yeah, we keep learning, right? I want you to take your time, check the Microsoft Learn articles, read more, and you can reach out to your mentors if you have any question. So we're supposed to start SharePoint today, but I'm not still sure your mentor joined. I'm not sure he's here. If not, he would have called my attention. So for SharePoint, for the sake of those who joined us for the intermediate class, I did mention earlier that M365 has different services, right? We've looked at, from the beginning, we looked at Power Apps, we treated Entra ID, Microsoft Teams, right? Yeah, then Exchange Online. So we're supposed to be looking at SharePoint Online. So how do you manage your SharePoint as a SharePoint admin or the Microsoft 365 administrator? So one beautiful thing about M365 is that it's very easy to navigate, right? Even when you don't know, sometimes, let me not say you don't know what you what you need to do or where to go, but when you just clicking around, it would be explaining to you, excluding yourself. Okay, so I'm actually a mentor. Don't mind me. Your mentor. I'm actually referring to myself. Yeah, thank you for that. So, as I was saying, yeah, M365, right? So if you need to manage your SharePoint admin center, just the same way we've been navigating the Exchange admin center, the same way you just go to the SharePoint admin center and do everything that you need to do within that SharePoint space. So now I'll go back to my screen sharing. I'll take you through SharePoint. I'll give you a brief introduction to SharePoint. I want to believe that you're okay. I want to believe that the SharePoint trainer would be available tomorrow to go deep dive, like you have into details for your intermediate class tomorrow. So while I'm sharing my screen, can you just confirm that you can see my admin portal? Let me stop the screen share and share again. So for SharePoint, we're just going to come back here. And right from the admin centers, you see the SharePoint admin center. So if you're a user, you're not going to go through the SharePoint admin center. You know where to go, right? If I'm a regular user that wants to access my SharePoint, once I sign into office.com, I'll have to click on the app launcher. That's the nine square dots. It's your app launcher at the top left. When you click on that as a user, you can access your SharePoint, your Teams, your Outlook, your OneDrive, your Office applications over the web as a regular user. But the only reason why I'm going through the admin center is because I'm the SharePoint admin or the global admin. So coming to SharePoint, like I said, I'm just going to give you a brief intro of the SharePoint admin center. So what do you do within the SharePoint admin center? What does SharePoint has to offer you? Basically, SharePoint is actually Microsoft intranet site, right? For your M365 tenants. You don't need to say maybe you want to go and be creating sites outside. Just create your sites from here. Share information that has to do with your organization, depending on maybe your department, say IT department, accounting department. You can create sites for such departments. So you also have file sharing within SharePoint. There are a lot of things that you can actually do within SharePoint. So right here in the SharePoint Admin Center, if you need to create a site, you have two different types of sites that you can create actually. You have the team site and you have the communication side. So if you're just starting off, I'm actually taking this because of our beginners that are here. So when you need to create a SharePoint site, we come to active sites, right? Just the same way you create users, just the same way you create, you have mailboxes, you delete a user, you have active user, you have deleted users. The same way you have active sites here and deleted sites. So if I need to create a site now, I'll just click on create. You'd see that point where you can choose which type of site do you want to create. Like I always advise, on your own, you can read this up, learn more about the team site, learn more about communication site. You should be able to differentiate between the two. For team sites, you have the M365 group attached to the team site. You have a space, it's a private space to collaborate with your team. You track and stay updated with project status. So all site owners and members publish this. So you just read through the team site and communication site. We're going to create both. So you can just click on team site. And here you have ready-made templates from Microsoft. You can choose to use your organization's template. You have different templates. You have a standard team site, a crisis communication team site, employee onboarding. This one will be very good for HR. So if you're looking at event planning, maybe for the welfare, those responsible for welfare, still HR. So depending on your department, right? You see, here you have IT help desks. So you can just click on that and I'll choose use this template. I think this one is ready-made. One beautiful thing is that M365 has given is ready-made. You will just be editing to your own taste. So I want to give this site a name. I give it mentorship, right? Mentorship training site. You need to put a description. This is for, let's say, Microsoft 365 intro. Yeah, you have the site address, then it's asking for a group owner. Who should be the owner of this site? Me, of course. I put Rafiah. It doesn't have to be me. So I could put Emmanuel. It depends on who you want to be the owner. So I click next. You can have several owners. Take note, I put myself. Okay. It seems picking just one. Okay, let's see. Click next. Then you have privacy settings, private, only members can access this. So for this settings, you can choose, do you want to make this site a private site or a public site? So you see the difference. If it's public, anyone within your organization can access the site. But if it's private, only members that you give access to that will be able to access this site. Then you click on create site. So now I want to add members. Yeah, I can say members would be Emmanuel. We have two Emmanuels here. Let me use Joseph. So you see that these people that I'm adding, I can't add Idris because Idris is not here. Neither can I add Ngozi or Somtochukwu. You won't see them here. So if I want such people to appear here, who can tell me what would I do from those that have been here? What do you think? If I want I want to be able to add external users as members of this site. What do you think I'll do? Can someone share with me in the chat? Sorry if I'm going too fast, but if I need to add maybe Peter, change to public, invite them to your organization. Your Solomon is quite close. Don't forget that I said, you saw the difference between public and private. Public, anyone in your organization. They didn't say outside the organization, they say in your organization. Public, okay. You're not getting my answer. So guest users, beautiful. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Guest users. Add new active user. Okay. Yeah, you're going to create a new user, but it's going to be a guest user. So if you need to add external users, that's people that are not within your, yeah, I actually search. Someone is saying search directory. I actually searched, but I didn't see anything. So you have to invite, it has to be a guest user, right? You know that guest users, when you're creating a guest user, you create the guest user from your Entra ID. You're gonna send an invitation to that external user. Once the person accepts that invitation, they automatically become, yeah, from admin center, it takes you beautiful. So that means Solomon has actually created a guest user. So I believe Samuel has also done that. So try to create a guest user from your Office 365 homepage. When you try from there, it will direct you to the Entra ID. You create the guest user. It will send an invitation to that external user, right? The person accepts the invitation, they become a guest user. And that's only when I can search here and I'll be able to find them. So I'll click on finish. Excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. So I was explaining, I think we just finished creating that. Yeah, so I've created that team site. If you also need to create a communication site, I think we can even see from here okay, you see that team site has this Teams icon. Then if you're also creating a communication site, it's still the same process. This one here is showing a communication site. So that's how you create your site. You add members to the site. So let me open this particular site now. For example, you create a site and you want to look at the membership. You're asking me what's the difference between a team site and a communication site? Okay. So basically the major difference is that I would say there are quite a number of differences between a team site and a communication site. In most cases, we use communication sites when you have larger audience. And for team sites usually have a Microsoft 365 group, right, attached to that site. But for communication sites, you don't have a Microsoft 365 group attached to it. So for several other differences, you can read through. I think when I was creating the sites, you have, let me just copy that link. So the communication side is also more or less subject focused. It doesn't just cover general topics. It's usually specific subject focused sites. Let me share this link with you so you can read on your own. It used to pass information. Good one. So Taya has just shared that it's used to pass information, it's used to publish news. So those are our trained mentees sharing with you the differences between a team site and a communication site. So you can see here, should I create a team site or a communication site? So from here, you can tell what the differences are and which of them would suit your need, right? As an IT admin, or suit the needs of your users. So create a team site. Let me share the one for communication site. Proceed. So for membership, those that should be members of your site, you just need to click on that site and add. If you need to add more owners, if you need to add more members that you would be collaborating with, sharing files with, You simply do that from. If you also need to view the site, let me just share that with you. I think this is a communication site here. So if I need to view this site, I'll just click on view site. It takes me to the site. And from here, you can share files, you can share documents, the permission, you have different permission levels here. So you have the documents, folders. So there are actually a lot of things that you can do within SharePoint. Sorry, I can't. So there's a document here. So I won't open the document for you to see, but there's one here. So depending on what you want to do with this file, you see, if I choose to open, if I choose to share, who am I sharing with? I can choose to copy the link and also share who has access. If I need to delete, when you delete, you can also recover deleted files from the recycle bin. So within SharePoint, you have I think you have the first stage recycle bin, you have the second stage recycle bin that you can recover your deleted files from. You can choose to download. So these are different things that different ways you can manage files and document folders within SharePoint. So like I said, I'm just introducing you to this. Our SharePoint mentor would give us more details for our intermediate class. And for the beginners that are here, if you need to reference the old class recordings, you can check our YouTube channel. We have all of them there. So you can watch them, reference Microsoft Learn articles. And like I said, if you have questions, I'm sure majority of you do already know your technology, right? So specific technology mentor, right? When I say specific, say, for example, now you have questions with Teams, you know who to reach out to. You reach out to either Joseph or Ife. If you have issues related to exchange, you reach out to Madam Titi, Oyimafu, or Timileyin. If you have questions related to Entra ID, Oyimafu is gallantly there. Joseph too is also. So they're actually just these people can. I don't think there's any question you ask them that they will not be able to answer. For Power Apps, I think I have one upcoming mentor here who is actually a mentee, but a Power Apps specialist. Does it mean this tenant has been on for more than, oh, you are saying 2020? Hey, okay, let me stop my screen share. Yes, it means that, okay, when Winters Limited, yes, it actually means that tenant has been available for 5 years. If you are seeing a file that was uploaded in 2020, so that was when that file was uploaded. I'm not the one who owns the tenant, so I can't guarantee that answer. So as I was saying, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to our mentors. They would answer your question. So if you have any question, please drop it in the chat. And tomorrow we're going to have a deep dive session. I'll say deep dive session on SharePoint Online. I didn't know how to take this much of your time. Yeah, I was talking about our Power Apps experts right in the house. Hopefully, it should be taking you through support, being a backup for Mr. Stanley. I know we can't share a site link from this to this. Only users from your tenant. You can't share a site link from SharePoint to the public. It's only users from your tenant or invited us from this. Okay. What platform in Microsoft 365 can we create a normal site that can be accessed by anyone? Okay, you know about Power Pages. Is that the only one you can use? I would say if you want to create a normal site that can be accessed by anyone, then you will go to Aside from that power pages, you go to website, host providers, right? What do you call them? The likes of Bluehost. That is where you will go and create your own website. But if it's still within SharePoint, just like you said, except you're sharing that site link with somebody, either external users or users within your organization. But if it's the one that you want everybody in the whole wide world to be able to access, I'm not sure you can do that from your SharePoint. I hope I've been able to answer your question. So I think that brings us to the end of today's class. We're going to meet same time tomorrow by 8 p.m. Your attendance link for today. So I know somebody has just asked for attendance. Thank you, Michael. Let's see. I'm not sure you're going to have an attendance for today. Okay, I want us to check through your WhatsApp. Please hold on. Okay, someone is asking, during migration of domain from one domain host to another, which of these protocols is used and how does the mailbox migration work? Okay, for when it comes to migration, I think Madam Titi had explained how you carry out, is it the IMAP migration that was treated in one of your exchange classes? So the only TXT record that the only record you would need to use during that migration would be, you're asking which of these protocols would be used, SPF, DKIM, or DMARC. You're going to be using all three during migration. So as regards how a mailbox migration works, I would want you to refer to the that would be the previous class before that. I think migration was taken on Saturday. So you can go back and look through that recording for you to see how mailbox migration works. So if you have any other question, you can drop that in the WhatsApp group. The attendance form, I'll try to get you the attendance link and possibly share this night. But if you don't get the attendance link this night, then that will be till tomorrow, because let me say, Emmanuel isn't feeling too well, so he's currently not available. But I'll try and reach out and see if we have that attendance link. If it's available, I'll share in the WhatsApp group. Otherwise, till tomorrow, you have your attendance link for tomorrow's class. Oh, last 2 weeks, Saturday. Okay. You can check through the recordings, go to our YouTube channel or within the WhatsApp group, you'll see the link to that recording. I could also check and reshare with you. So that will bring us to the end of today's class. If you have, okay, I think I've been able to answer all your questions. See you same time tomorrow, and thank you all so much for your time. Do have a good night rest. Bye for now. You're very much welcome.